This is Talk Over Tea,
a place for a casual conversation about life and local government.
With Kassandra
and Claudel Frederic,
elected officials from the city of Amesbury, Massachusetts.
Relax with us for a moment. The tea is hot.
And here we are again.
Here we are. Welcome back.
Right. Yes, welcome back. And again, if you haven't tuned in, welcome. Thank you. So today we're going to talk about PACT, right?
Yeah.
Because we've mentioned it in an episode prior to this.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
And now we should speak on it for sure.
Yeah.
A little bit more. PACT, first of all. Mm-hmm. Well, the acronym.
Yep, is the Partnership of Amesbury Community and Teens.
Correct. So can we talk about what is actually the objective for PACT?
Yeah. I'll probably include a little bit of history too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So PACT is, it's our youth coalition, or there's a youth coalition, there's a community coalition, but it started as part of the Essex County Asset Builder Network, which was grant funded and based on positive youth development, which is the sort of concept that there's these 40 developmental assets, and that the more of those assets that young people have, the less likely they are to engage in risk behaviors. So we, as a community, have been part of that effort. We do a survey of our middle school and high school students every 2 years to measure how many of those assets they have and how much they're participating in risk behaviors. So we can sort of see the correlation and then frame our work around increasing the assets that we've seen that they lack in order to discourage the risk behaviors, which is a long answer to what we're doing in PACT. But we've been able to sort of bring together young people and older or just adults of all ages in the community to work on filling those gaps, mentoring young people, planning programming to help provide them with positive things to do, ways to increase their physical, mental, social, like emotional health, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And kind of just sitting in the meetings for PACT, I've definitely noticed that it brings like this joy and empowerment to the kids. Like when they're in a room with other adults and their thoughts actually matter.
Yeah.
Like their ideas are being taken seriously. And it seems like it gives them like this confidence that they may not have amongst their peers, and then they could then take it back to that environment and feel good about what they're doing and what they stand for.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's exactly the role that we should be playing, but that's what it seems like.
It's a huge piece of it. I mean, one of the important components to the work is that it is youth-led, right? And that we give students a voice and we listen to them say what they need. Some of the things we have learned over the years from that survey, we'll talk about maybe a few of them, but one in particular is that they have said they sort of lack confidence, right? That they don't feel empowered. And bringing them into a room where we can provide that space, and then even better, it's great to hear you say that you think they at least feel like that, and they then return to other environments with that sense of confidence. And they can kind of carry that outside of that space. Yeah. It's sort of validating for all of us.
Yeah, it's like we create a safe space for them. And it's good. It's good to see.
Yeah, because you think about, again, sort of relating to the work, like the more confident they are, the more likely they are going to be to speak up. Or if they see something happening that they see their friends or their peers, or they're in an environment where something's happening. There's drug use. There's people drinking. There's underage things happening, or there's there's relationship violence, like something's happening, they're going to be more likely to feel more empowered, have the confidence to speak up, to say something, to not engage, not participate, to, remove themselves, remove their friends, right? Like confidence is a huge, it's a big deal. It's important that they have that. And again, that actually was one of the things that we saw in the survey data that they didn't feel like they had.
Right. And some of the icebreakers that we've done in these meetings, I feel like we've had kind of like icebreakers like that. Like, hey, you come across a friend that you haven't seen for a while and they look like they're not being themselves.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Like, what do you say to them? Like, to kind of let them know, hey, I am here for you, or kind of thing. And I feel like even as an adult, like, that is such an important like activity to go through.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, wow, like you don't think about that because everybody's kind of just like, hey, how you doing? Good. Thank you. Bye. So kind of doing these icebreakers with the kids, it's helping them, but it's also helping the adults. And overall, like, we're building with them. It's huge.
Yeah,
like,
it's a little deeper than you normally get to in a meeting. And it's, we've built this community where we can all do it together. Yeah. But those communication tools are so important, and they do directly relate to what we've learned, and the ability for young people to talk to adults, for them to feel like they have an adult they can go to, to speak to. Maybe it is their parents, family caretakers, and be able to tell them if something is happening, if they've had an experience they need to share, and making sure that they have those skills to enter that conversation. And we've really got to boost that for them. So those are really important exercises for us to go through, right? And PACT also does some adult programming. So we, over the years, have done some programs at night for families to help them be able to have those conversations with the children in their lives, right? So that there's this two-way communication that everyone's more comfortable, confident, and able to have.
I haven't had the experience to join one of those yet, but I feel like that would be great to kind of sit in on, just to kind of see how that goes. That sounds very powerful for everybody in the community. And obviously, we could only wish that every single teen would want to be part of PACT, right? Or was part of PACT. But I feel like what we take away from this is, even if they're not, we kind of know that that need is still there in the community. Like, kids that we see walking in town, they have those same needs. So like, the approach kind of needs to be the same. And them having an adult in the community, like you said, that they feel comfortable with talking to about an issue that they might be having, or some thoughts that they might be having. It's a big deal. I mean, a lot of the kids, I feel like, do yearn that. And they deserve it. You know?
So one of the other key pieces of data that we pulled out was feeling valued by the community, and having I won't have the language all right, but feeling valued by the community and having a sort of meaningful role in our community was something that the students said they did not have. They didn't feel either of those, which is something, those are two I've really held on to as a leader of this community. And that data has been pretty consistent over the period of time that we've been surveying our students. And so it does speak to why this is really a community initiative, that we need more people involved. And it could be in a classroom, it could be at a meeting, but it could also just be on the street. Literally, where, when we pass young people, do we say hello? Do we say, hey bud, what's up? Good to see you. What are you guys doing today? And actually stop and talk to them. Right. We, as a community in Amesbury, we've been designated an age-friendly community, and it's a designation from AARP. And so we sort of associate it with being friendly to folks over the age of 55, 60, or 65. But being age friendly to young people is also really important, and it's part of that spectrum. And again, those interactions we have, and there's so many different ways that we can do, that we can make change to make young people feel like they are valued and they have meaningful roles in our community. Right.
That's the thing. Even like, I think about respect, right? When we think about the word respect, it's almost every time you thinking, oh, that's an adult, you need to respect them, right? I barely hear the roles reversed. Like, as an adult, like, that is a child, you need to show them respect, because the only way we're going to get that respect from them is if we show them what it means to respect people, including them. So that's part of what PACT is doing as well, I feel like. And it's I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that came up, we had some folks come in and talk to us at meetings in the past about things we could do. And one that always sticks out to me is the feeling young people have when they enter like a shop or, like a retailer, a downtown retailer type of thing. And what it feels like as a young person when they walk in, they're walking home from school and they have their backpacks on. And that sometimes when you walk into a store, there's, like a place to leave your bag. Like you can't wear your bag in the store. And what that makes them feel like, that they're not trusted, that they can't just walk around like everybody else, that they're trying to actually, walk around and shop a little bit, or, they're exploring with their friends. They're learning about what's in the store, right? They're taking in the world around them. And so how can we be sort of youth friendly, even in that small way? And of course you can, in certain instances, there's maybe shop owners who are, afraid of shoplifting, or they can't see through all of their aisles, right? So they don't know what's going on. And, but for an adult to be able to be comfortable enough to have that conversation with the kids, and, maybe there's kids that come in all the time when they're coming home from school, and to be able to talk to them and say, hey, you can walk around with your bag, but I need to know that I can trust you. And, this is my shop, right? Like, this is my job. This is my family's livelihood. Like have a real conversation with them,
right.
Respect them. Right. And be able to have that interaction. It's a very different experience than like having a bucket and saying, leave your bag here. Hey guys, put your bag over there.
With no reason given.
It's very different. Right. And so, just even thinking about that it's just a real change, and being able to, again, sort of experiencing that from them, from their perspective it's really interesting. And that's what's great about sort of putting us all in the same room where they can talk to us about that.
Absolutely. I don't think we give adolescents enough credit. I think sometimes we think they know less than they really know. Their awareness level is really higher than we think. And we tiptoe around important conversations when we should be having certain conversations that do matter.
Yeah.
They could handle it. They're probably having these conversations with their friends.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's a change we could make.
Yeah.
Like you said, show them that respect and kind of have these conversations instead of just telling them, do this because I said so.
Yeah. Right.
That's not cool. I wouldn't want to do something just because you said so.
Right. Yeah. One of the other, I don't think I've already said this, but one of the other things that has come up as we've been doing this work is that they don't feel empowered to make decisions. And, they get sort of told all day long what to do, right? Like take out the trash, do the dishes, get ready for school. We've got to go, don't be late. Like they get told what to do all day long, and that they don't feel like they have the opportunity to sort of think for themselves and make decisions, which I thought was so interesting. And so for people to, to sort of turn that around at any chance you have to interact with a young person, and sort of ask them, like, what do you think you should be doing right now? Or like, how would you want to spend your time? What should you be doing next? Or being able to just engage them in decision-making processes and help them work through that, because they're going to have to make decisions. Right.
So instead of speaking at them, speak to them.
Work through things with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's come up too. So you've been involved in PACT for a while. I've been involved for PACT for a while too, and you have a little one. I don't have any kids.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got involved, I actually sort of skipped the meetings. I was getting invited, and I thought like, oh, I don't work with kids. I don't have kids. Like, I don't know why they're inviting me, really. And then once I started going, I thought, wow, this, like we said, this is really community wide. And so, I think we've talked about some direct interactions that adults might have with children, but I think there's other things to think about too. If you don't actually have kids or work with kids, do you have anything that comes to mind for you of like, why should people care?
Well, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, just like your regular interaction in the community with young adults, like whether you have kids or not, like you need to kind of understand, like, this is how they're feeling. You might have a niece that's going to, exchange paths with these same kids.
Yeah.
And if these kids don't know how to handle certain emotions or certain things, I mean, it's part of your responsibility. You could actually kind of mold like who your niece is bumping into in the community. It's like, so it's just as important whether it's like a kid that you gave birth to or somebody else gave birth to. It's regardless, like you want to see the future of the city just be better. That's huge. That's the reason why you should get involved. That alone kind of just bridging the gap between the adolescents and the adults, period. Doesn't matter if it's my kid or your kid. We're bridging the gap. That's what we're trying to do. And I think that's a good enough reason to be involved, you know? So.
Yeah, one of the things that I just remember really standing out to me from the beginning, so when I first got involved, I was the director of the Chamber of Commerce. We were talking about, I actually had some members from PACT and the leadership team come in and do a session with business owners to talk about having sort of like a youth-friendly and parent, caregiver-friendly work environment that, you know, when you look at the data and there's the difference it makes for kids to have their parents and caregivers at, you know, field day or at their awards ceremony or, you know, available if they need them to pick them up from school or, you know, being able to go to their concerts and their performances, to be at their baseball games and, you know, like what a difference it makes when they are available. So if you're an employer and you know, think about how you control your employees' time. Do you let employees leave to go to those things so they can be present in their kids' lives, right? Do you provide a workspace where if, you know, the kids get out of school early, it's okay if they walk to the office first before your spouse picks them up, or it's okay to, you know, be late because the bus didn't pick up the kids, or, you know, like, do you create a space where parents can be present for their children? Because now we're looking at the data from the kids saying like, no, I don't have adult role models. My parents work all day. They're not home.
Right.
And here I am engaging in these behaviors because when kids get bored, they experiment, right? And we want to provide them with the support to make good decisions. And so it was, you know, it's an arm's distance away, right? But as employers and adults who, again, may not have kids and may not work directly with kids, we may not rub elbows with them on the street. You are around people who have kids and who need to be there. So I think that's an important just thought to put out there for people who may be in that environment, right?
That's a great perspective to have on it. It makes a lot of sense, you know, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the, what are some of the things you've done with PACT?
So during the block party, like I get to work with a few of the adolescents and we kind of hold down the big slide for the kids. We get to do that, even the Pride Parade.
Oh, yeah.
And
I walked with them last year.
Yeah, so I didn't walk with them last year, but I was able to help out at the Mill Yard.
Yep.
So that was kind of cool just to kind of see people come out and feel comfortable with, hey, this is a space where I feel comfortable being myself. And that was cool to see and be part of that. So, and these are things for me that is out of the norm that I've done. So I think it's great for me to kind of experience these things too. And it's like opening my eyes to like, all right, how do you treat others and, you know, their beliefs or whatnot, you know? So those are some of the things I've done with that.
Two of the things that I've done that I just thought they've been great and they have been available to all students. The first we did the first couple of years was wasn't really like a job fair, but sort of like a career day. I forget what we called it. But at the high school here, we had lots of tables set up with different professionals from around town. And it wasn't necessarily for people to get a job or an internship, but to sort of learn from people in our community how they got to where they are. Like if I think I want to be a police officer, if I think I want to be a doctor, if I think I want to own my own business, if I think I want to be in sales, how do I get from here, high school junior, to there? How do I get to be the person who owns my own business, right? To just give them information, again, sort of empower them, make them feel like, yeah, you can do this.
Right.
You have the tools, you have the ability to do it, and let them ask questions. And it was great. Again, it wasn't like, it wasn't for people who needed a summer job. We had some tables that, and they might be hiring, but we had so many people from the community come out and they had their their textbooks, you know, the physical therapists, and they had all their stuff out, and the students loved it. You know, they came out and they were flipping through and they were looking at the science books and the anatomy, and they were talking to everybody. So I thought that was great. And all the different grades, classes sort of came through. So we did that for a couple of years. And then more recently we did a day, and the students named it, and it was the Treat Yourself Day.
Okay. Yeah.
You remember that? And that was great because we had a real wide variety of things for them to go to and choose for sessions. And again, with the sort of lens of when young people have, time and decisions to make, we want them to make the decision that's best for their, physical, mental, and emotional health. And so we had some sessions on like time management, executive functioning, and stuff like that. But then there was a session where they got to make smoothies and learn about nutrition, and they got to go exercise. They got to break boards with the local dojo, and
Nice.
and they like loved it.
Yeah.
And it was, they got to be physical, and they rotated, and they went to more than one session. And so, that was great too. So there's all these different ways that PACT is sort of putting together programming in response to the data and trying to help empower these young people and give them the tools they need to change behavior. So it's been really cool to see, and we hope more people get involved, right?
No, definitely. I really would love to see more people get involved. And I would love to continue to even, learn even more about PACT as the years come.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a great place to start if you're new to the community, especially.
Yeah, and if you're listening, you're not in Amesbury, check out what's going on in your community. Maybe you have a youth coalition. Think about getting young people involved in boards and commissions. I mean, we've started to think about that. Just sort of, think more about how to connect more of the adults in your community with young people.
Yeah, bridge the gap.
Yeah, I like that.
But
anything else you want people to know about PACT?
I think we actually nailed
that was
quite
a lot.
bit.
I think it's great. We wanted to do an episode just about PACT so that people could learn more about it.
Yeah.
I know that, so we have a full-time coordinator of PACT. Her name is Kelly McCora. We'll give her a little shout out.
She's amazing.
So if you want to get involved, find Kelly. Maybe we'll put some contact information in our posts, but we'd love more people to be involved. I know she is doing a lot of work to get the word out and get more people connected. And, if you ever see programming from PACT, we totally invite you and hope that you'll come and join us. We've had public events too. We just had a comedy night. We had a panel, and I'm sure that there will be more. So now you know a little bit more about PACT if you're listening, and you can tell your friends too. So hopefully we get even more folks out there, and we'll really increase the presence and relationships with our young people in our community. So
again, cheers.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Very good. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you. All right.